And joining us on the line, first time welcome to Flow FM. We've got great talent. This lady is Bonnie Kellett. G'day, Bonnie. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Clayton. Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
I'm just wondering, as you used to be from SA, how much are you missing Farmers Union iced coffee at the moment?
A lot. I do miss the Farmers Union iced coffee, and whenever I come home, it's one of the first things I do buy.
Bonnie, I'm enjoying one right now.
Oh, don't. You're making me jealous.
Every time I speak to someone from SA and I always feel like if they had a voodoo doll, there would be a big pin going straight through it.
Oh, no, as long as you send me one, and I expect it in the mail right now. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, we do miss our Farmers Union iced coffee, which incidentally sells more than some other products that you think would sell more, but we do love it here in SA. So, but I do believe you can get it where you are, but it's, I think, through Woolies you might be able to get it.
Oh, I heard it was on the black market.
Well, that could be true too.
Only in Sydney.
Yeah, but anyway, enough about that. We're here to talk about you and your new song, and which is called Lost and Found, which we'll get to hear shortly. And you've got I sort of notice as I look on here on my screen, it's got a picture of you with a violin, and you've got a looping pedal set up and all that. So can you kind of explain that a bit to me? Because it's not something that we sort of accustomed to see, and I did like the version you did of Billie Eilish's A Bad Guy, but where did all that come from, the looping pedal and the violin?
Yeah, sure. Well, very much like Ed Sheeran. So the beautiful thing about the loop pedal is that I can pick up the guitar and I can put down some chords, and I can use the guitar to make a beat and make a bass line, and then I get to put that the guitar up, and I can pick up the violin and play along and sing as well. So that's certainly given me a lot of freedom in my performances, especially with COVID at the moment, because although I much prefer to play with a band, it has caused it's meant that I've been able to do a lot more performing because of COVID restrictions and not being able to have a whole band on the stage, for example, or some venues not being able to afford a whole band because of COVID restrictions. So that's really, really cool. But yeah, it kind of came about a few years ago when I actually gave up my full-time job and decided to take on music full-time. And I ended up in a town a little bit outside of Byron, and they were all using loop pedals up there, and I got, they taught me how to use it, and it's been an obsession of mine ever since.
Well, it works for Ed Sheeran, so if it works for you, why not?
Yeah, of course.
So you gave up a full-time job. What did the folks think when you told them that, hey, I'm giving this up to go into the world of music? Did they sort of start to question what you were smoking over there nearby?
No, my parents have always been really, really supportive of my creative career. They kind of knew that it was always going to be that way, and they're musicians themselves. Although they did it, they do it for the fun of performing, just because they love it so much. But yeah, I'm very lucky that I've had such supportive musical parents and a supportive family as well.
Yeah, that does make it easy and does give you the confidence to then try and experiment and really get yourself going out there, because you've sort of got that family grounding and backup behind you.
Yeah, 100%.
So what sort of music were you listening to growing up, Bonnie? What was the influence of the parents onto you that led you on this path of country music and, I dare say, a bit of eclectic music as well? Yeah,
well, that's the interesting thing, is that I don't have just one genre that I listen to. I grew up with my violin. I'm classically trained, so I listened to a lot of classical music as a kid. My parents took me along to all the folk music festivals, so I grew up with country music, folk music, Irish music, especially on the fiddle. And then, of course, growing up, I got very much into pop and rock music as well. And I'd say one of my biggest influences as a teenager growing up with country music was Casey Chambers. She was actually one of the reasons why I ended up learning how to play guitar. And the first two songs that I learned on guitar were Cry Like a Baby and The Captain.
Yep.
And the beautiful thing is that it's kind of gone full circle because I got to meet her and she asked me to play violin in one of her shows earlier in the year, and then her dad Bill has asked me to perform at Tamworth Country Music Festival with him. So I've kind of had this beautiful full circle of positive influences in my life musically. Yeah.
That is excellent. So how nervous were you when you're on stage with Casey?
Oh my God, I can't even tell you how nervous I was. There's a photo of me and I'm kind of looking up from my violin in disbelief going, oh my God, is this actually happening?
Yeah, fingers, please move, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I can understand. So is there any more with you and Casey? Because you would have had a lot of fun. Surely you would have had a conversation and said, I'm available anytime. So
absolutely. Yeah, nothing in the works right now, but, we don't know in the future. And, of course, Bill has said he'd love to work with me again in the future too. So, yeah, I'm just waiting for that moment to come through.
As a solo performer with your loop pedals, your guitar and your violin, what's the crowd reaction like when you pick up the violin and start, doing a song like the Billie Eilish one or other ones that you do? What's the crowd reaction like?
The crowd reaction is always really, really positive. They always get very inquisitive, especially because I think the violin that I was using in that video, was that was the 5-string violin, or was that the
I believe so. No, I think it from memory, and I've got the footage up here. I think it's the 5-string.
Yeah, fabulous. So everybody asked me about that particular violin because it doesn't look like a typical violin.
Yeah.
And so it's an electric violin, but it's got the 5th string. So it's actually part violin, part viola. With my bass pedal, it becomes a cello, and with one of my other pedals, it becomes a 4-string quartet. So it's kind of like the uber instrument. And you've just brought the nerd out in me. I'm a total nerd.
I have got no problem with that because that saves, I was going to lead on to another question because it shows, the picture I've got here shows your little pedal box, and I was going to ask about some of them, but you've just said that. So that's brilliant. 5-string, excellent. And all those different instruments, and that's all you got to do, and you're a mini orchestra, a mini string section all by yourself.
Yeah, it does sound very MIDI. It's a very, MIDI kind of sound that comes through. But yeah, the idea is that you kind of get a quartet kind of sound. I
dare say you can find an equalizer that can adjust that for you as well.
Most likely. Might need to do some more research into it now that you've said that.
And I'm sure there's some nerdies out there that would be going, yeah, of course you can. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So back to your song. It is called Lost and Found, so it's all about basically you giving up the full-time job and getting out there and finding this new career. So it seems to be like a happy little journey kind of song.
Yeah, it's very much about taking a leap of faith, and I'm just so grateful that I did it, and I actually did it in 2019, so just before COVID started, but I'd kind of gotten to the point where once you'd started, it was like, well, got to keep going. Yep. So I very much felt like even with COVID that it wasn't going to be forever. It was only going to be a short time, and there'd be, we all wanted to listen to music during and certainly want to go watch live music perform afterwards. So I never lost faith during COVID, and I'm just so excited that I get to now share my music with everyone now.
And how hard is it to have held on to that faith?
Oh, I just don't think I can do anything else. I think music is just in my blood. I just coming from such a musical family, they just taught me that if that was what I wanted to go with, that they were fully supportive of that.
And that's what you need as well. So you've got the song out. What's next for you, Bonnie? Are you working on more music? Are we going to hear more songs from you? Is there an album in the works? What's the future hold for you?
Yeah, I have a completed album. So this is the second release from the album. So we started the album in January of 2020. So I've been holding on to it for all this time. So again, why I'm so excited to be able to bring it out to everybody now because, I've been holding on to it for dear life going, come on, COVID, finish up so I can release it. So I'll be releasing a few more tracks before the album drops, which will be, we don't have an exact date, but that'll be end of the year or early next year for the album. A few festivals in the works. I can't announce anything just yet because we're still going over the fine details, but I'll be able to announce that soon. And just seeing where everything goes.
And some of the songs, when you're saying that the album was done 2 years ago, are you listening to them and going, I could have done that better?
I think music's never finished. You know, I think you can always think that. And the way I write now is certainly, you know, different from that. But I certainly feel like these songs, you know, need to have their moment and their time. But it makes me super excited to get into the studio and to create some more. So I can't wait to do that too.
So you've got these studio songs. You're going to be doing some live shows. Have they changed, you know, in the way that you're going to be performing them live?
Yeah, definitely. When I'm on my own and I've got the loop pedal, they of course sound all different acoustically. But I love getting in front with a band too, and just being able to recreate that studio sound as well. And
I think that's one of the beautiful things that, you know, you do as you perform the song live. It does change, and it sort of almost takes a life of its own, and it evolves as you evolve with it. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, 100%.
I love one of the lines in it: "Wherever we go, that's where we'll go. No road maps."
That's right. Yep, exactly.
The best way to travel, I feel, at times.
Yeah, well, you never know what life's going to throw at you, and I certainly, and that's certainly what I hoped would connect with anybody that has taken that leap of faith and is doing what they love, because I think, or anybody that's thinking about doing it too, because I just think it's, you know, music in itself is difficult, of course, you know, anything in the creative arts is difficult, but I feel like most jobs are. If you want to reach that certain point, you know, like, you know, being the best hairdresser is hard, or being the best radio presenter is hard, but if you're passionate about it, then it's what you want to spend your time on, and you end up becoming amazing at it anyway, just because you love it so much.
Absolutely. Well, Bonnie, it's been great chatting to you. I know there's going to be more music, so we're going to have future conversations, and we can discuss our love of Farmers Vineyard and iced coffee then.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but we've got the song here ready to go. Thank you so much for spending time with us today on Flow. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to our future chats. And if you could please introduce your brand new song to us for all the Flow listeners.
Thank you, Clayton. Thank you for having me on the show. Thanks, folks. I hope you enjoyed. This is Lost and Found.
I've been down every road, it seems, chasing each and every path, following my dreams. All the shooting stars can't keep it from our hearts. You count me down, you bring me out, and wherever we go, that's where we'll go, with no road maps, where no one knows. And wherever we go, that's where we'll go. And once we leave this town, oh baby, I'm lost and